This is a podcast from The Bugle.
You step into your time machine, heart a drum solo of anticipation. 1,000 Christmas mornings await you, both literally and figuratively. You set the destination. 10 years. No, 100 years. No, 1,000 years in the future. A shiny city of wonders on the horizon, both figuratively and, most likely, you believe, literally. You pull the activation lever. All the secrets of the universe await you, an open book. Figuratively, but probably not literally. The secrets of the universe will probably be digital or perhaps some sort of wireless psychic transmission. You arrive. There is no Christmas, no shining city, no secrets. A barren wasteland stretches in every direction. Only one thing remains. Only one thing has withstood the test of time. The Gargle. The sonic glossy magazine to the Bugle's audio newspaper for a visual world. This is The Gargle. All of the news, none of the politics. I am your host, Alice Fraser, and your guest editors for this week's edition of the magazine are Katie Norris. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello. Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. And John-Luke Roberts.
Hello. Thank you. Lovely to be here.
I quite like a time travel introduction because, the secret in comedy is writing it at a time before political correctness went mad.
Timing. Oh, sorry.
But before we sit back at the fireside and reminisce about this week's top stories, let's have a look at the front cover of this week's magazine. Front cover this week is Noam Chomsky posing provocatively with 1 million eulogy posts about a lifetime of things he had said about politics, his death being used to justify positions across all sides, regardless of the facts or contexts, only to discover a little bit later in the day through an announcement from his wife that he's not dead. The satirical cartoon for today is 2 lady penguins watching a Bond movie and he's in a full tuxedo and one lady penguin says to the other lady penguin, "Ooh, he can sit on my eggs any day." And that brings us to our top story for today. Top story today is YouTube is cracking down on gun content. Apparently, you're no longer allowed to make a harmless YouTube video about 3D printing a gun in order to take vengeance on the people who wronged you. It's a really sad time for gun makers. Katie, you're in 3D. Can you unpack this story for us?
Yeah, well, this was a lot to unpack for me, to be honest, because I've heard of 3D printers. And I thought that they were literally like origami guns. They sort of just print them. And then I had to spend about an hour sort of looking up ghost guns and 3D printers. And then suddenly I was watching Vice documentaries about these men. Cody Wilson, is that his name? The guy who first downloaded and made his own gun. And then suddenly I've now got an AK-47 arriving this afternoon. So it's already gone too far. But yeah, that was a lot for me to get my head around. But I don't think, there should obviously be age restrictions on gun content. I mean, surely. But the argument this guy's saying is that everyone that watches his videos is like 35 anyway.
And that therefore they should be allowed to print out their own guns because when you're 35...
guns, paper guns, like paper airplanes.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I think you can be shot as well with a 3D gun as a non-3D gun. 3D printed gun. Yeah, and also he was in the video he's saying, "Oh, I'm not promoting violence," but then his backdrop is 50 guns, and he's in a balaclava, sort of looking like Blind Boy from Rubber Bandits, but not as cool. I mean, you know what they say: guns don't kill people, printers kill people.
Yeah, they do. They send me west.
John-Luke, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the moral panic about 2D printed guns. It was pretty easy to dodge the bullets as long as you existed outside of a plane. I don't know how you can build a whole YouTube channel around talking about 3D printed guns. How much more can there be than I printed a gun, bang. Here's another gun I printed, bang, bang, bang. So
I mean, you're getting the idea. I feel like this is...
It's the artistic value of the thing which I would like to challenge. All the things you could use 3D printers for, and you're just using it to churn out the same episode week after week, and then get cross at YouTube for slamming down on putting age restrictions on your gun videos.
Yeah, if I had a choice, what would I use a 3D printer for? Would it be a gun, or would it be a really high state-of-the-art vibrator or something? Something that I actually need.
No, you got to do a lot of filing work, because this is the thing about 3D printing. 3D printing is very cool and it sounds very cool, but in reality, it tends to be a little bit ticky-tacky, because you're printing it from usually an extruded plastic, so the thing feels a bit kind of shonky, and if you catch it in the right light, you can sort of unpeel it like knitting.
You have to like sand it down, don't you, to make it into like a yeah. Could you use a 3D a printer to print paper? Like, could you make paper with a 3D printer? I guess
Yes.
it would have to have mulch, not plastic in it, but you could presumably do it.
Yes, but it would be even easier to print cardboard, because that's more three-dimensional.
Oh yeah, I see.
That's what they say about cardboard. It's like paper, but more so. They had that very famous set of ads that were only shown in 3D movies, which was just for cardboard, and it was like the paper was coming out at you.
I remember those.
Slightly.
Yeah, very slightly. Yeah. In fact, you'd look at it and you go like, is that screen? No, it's not. No way. Is that? No, it's just too dumb. Hang on. The intrigue of the very slightly 3D movie.
Your ad section now, because you can't be what you can't buy. Everyone has problems, a noisy neighbour, an unfulfilling job, that corpse starting to rot in your basement. But why solve your problems when you can travel? Travel. When you want to find yourself, why not try the last place you'd look? Somewhere else. Or here. Or wherever you go. Travel. And there's only one thing cooler than wearing a leather jacket, caring about the environment. And there's only one thing cooler than caring about the environment. Caring about the environment while wearing a leather jacket. And that's why this episode of the podcast is brought to you by horses. Horses, nature's motorbike. And are you a flower? Do you need a place to live while you slowly die? Try half a glass of water. Half a glass of water, the palliative care ward for a single red rose.
Cheers.
Oh.
Hey, you came prepared.
I'm sorry, I'm
You've
2/3 in.
yours.
Yeah, I've ruined it.
And that brings us to our next story. Our next story is Disney news. Hacking news or penguin news. All the same news, in fact. That is, Disney has been hacked, apparently, by angry fans of an online Disney game, Disney-owned game called Club Penguin, which sounds like the least likely place to inculcate a rebellion. John Luke, you walk with your feet very close together in a slightly waddling gait. Can you unpack this story for us?
Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. But I feel like I go through the world thinking nobody's noticed that I put so much effort into it, and so it's nice that you finally. Thank you for that. I'm blushing actually.
Your arms parallel, but your hands perpendicular to your body. That's
well, they flap a bit. To be fair, they flap in and out. You can't just keep them perpendicular all the time. They have to flap, or how are you walking? Yeah, me and Dick Van Dyke carrying that flag. Club Penguin, Penguin, Club Penguin.
You're worse than Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh yes, I remember that. Yes, right. Club Penguin, which is not an instruction, was the animal rights activists don't like it. It was a massively multiplayer online game. Which is the official name for those games, isn't it? Which always it seems funny when massively is in a real title for something. Massively, it seems like a silly word. Anyway, you had to be a human to play it, so you couldn't play it if you were a penguin, but you got to pretend to be a penguin in the game. Disney bought it. They didn't like this. They thought it was misleading people into thinking that penguins could play when penguins weren't allowed to play. I may have got that wrong. Anyway, they closed down Club Penguin. Then they reopened a different version of Club Penguin. Then they closed down that Club Penguin. And now Disney have been hacked by what is supposed to be fans of Club Penguin, who aren't penguins, but are angry.
So they don't get to pretend to be penguins. So they have to pretend to be criminals.
Yes, exactly. Well, and it's very hard to hack as a penguin because your little flippers just go blam, 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 blam on the keyboard. And it's hard to get any precision. They can use their beaks, but it's a very slow process, and you can't see what's going on at the screen while you're hitting the thing with what is basically the equivalent of your nose. Yes, they've stolen personal details of people who, haven't they? I don't know.
Yes. This is what happens when you're hacked. I mean, this is the thing that happens. Most hacking nowadays tends to be the leakage of personal information. So they've hacked Disney and stolen 2.5 gigabytes worth of internal company data and partly dumped on 4chan, which is the bastion of free speech and pictures of gaping assholes, depending on which you prefer to access at any given time. It's revealing inner secrets of Disney, including their tools that they use as in their software development, as well as some of their corporate and advertising plans. I assume all of which are filed in folders labeled "Mwahahahahaha." How can we ruin the things you enjoyed in your childhood? Katie, have you ever played Club Penguin?
No, but it looked lovely. I think the only game I've played is the Make Your Own Hospital one when I was younger. But the Club Penguin I thought looked nice, but I feel like Disney should know better than to kids. But I'm a big fan of an uprising. I think give the kids the origami guns, give the penguins the guns.
I'm pretty sure that the people who were hacking are either the grown-up children or fully adult people who played it and then got irrationally attached to a children's game, which means you're probably beginning from not the most stable position. No.
I would say as well, are they the same people that hacked Ashley Madison? Like, is it all the same thing?
Yeah, Ashley Madison was hacked by angry penguins. Penguins dislike infidelity. They see things in black and white.
They do. They mate for life, don't they? So...
And that brings us to our reviews section. As you know, each week we ask our guest editors to review something out of 5 stars. John Luke, what have you brought in for us today?
Well, as you may know, I'm currently in the process of preparing all 10 of my solo shows for re-performance this Edinburgh.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at the stage in the project when I've got a similar reaction to you. So the first show was did in 2010. That's 14 years ago. I'm doing them like one a day in Edinburgh and then starting again, doing them all the way through. And then at some later point, I'm going to do them all over 2 days. Anyway, so I've gone there's so much introspection and retrospection, and it's so solipsistic, and I'm meeting it turns out every single one of these shows was about something deeply personal in my life, even the ones I didn't realize were. So I've gone down this sort of rabbit hole of me. And then yesterday it was my 39th birthday, and I similarly to my 29th, that's the hard one, I think. That's the one where you come to terms with the next one. So I've been hit by a sort of I'm not in a good place. So I've written a review of my navel. It would be fair to say that my navel is exactly where you would expect it to be. And in fact, there are only very few ways in which it bucks convention. It's an innie, the most common arrangement for a navel. This, of course, makes the alternate moniker for the navel, the belly button, in many ways inapposite. It doesn't look like a button. No one would trust a button which goes in. If the button at a pedestrian crossing was concave, no way would you risk sticking your finger in there and wiggling it around. My navel is hairless, in pleasing contrast to the belly around it. My belly is good at collecting fluff from around my torso, working in tandem with the aforementioned belly hair, which directs it in. This saves time on having to sweep my torso. I give my navel 5 stars out of 5, but I don't know if it will appeal to a broad audience. There.
Thank you very much. 5 stars for your navel. Katie, what have you brought in for us today?
Have you ever seen a smart bud?
I've not seen a smart bud. What is it?
Mine's also bodily. So, are you guys fans of pimple popping?
Yes.
Do you know what that says about us, John?
What does it say?
That we don't have a disgust threshold.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. Sometimes I think the disgust is part of the pleasure, isn't it?
Exactly, my darling.
I see.
So, it's a pimple vacuum.
Huh.
Someone bought it for my birthday. You hold it on your face, and it has a television screen, like a recording device, so you can link up to your phone and watch yourself squeezing all the spots out, and you can record it. So this is my pimple vacuum review. For lovers of the pimple, the pop, and the pus. Do you want to experience both pleasure, pain, and also relief by luxuriating in your own filth? And press that record button so you can play it again to satisfy your future popping needs. What's not to love? Just don't set it too high on the suction bit because you will get hickeys all over your face. 5 stars.
Wow. Are you going to share the video with the Gargle audience?
We'll do a link at the bottom, maybe.
Live stream on your popular Twitch channel.
It's worth pointing out Ped is furiously shaking his head.
Are you I'm taking you guys aren't Pimple Popper fans?
No.
Okay, me and John, we watch those on TikTok.
I mean, I don't watch them all the time, but I have watched them, and there was one that was amazing, massive one, like bigger than a 50p coin. That was incredible. How do you let it get to that stage?
Which one of you was the one who expressed skepticism that you could make an entire YouTube channel out of the process of making 3-dimensional guns?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, now I see the flaw. Yeah.
Thank you. That's how many stars for the pimple popping suction machine? 5 stars and 5 stars for John Luke's navel.
It sucks. 5 stars. That would be a good pimple.
Reads like a 2.
I mean, look, it's a good review in that I think what a good review should do is reveal the biases of the reviewer, and you can read a review and you go, I would hate that movie / pimple popper.
Exactly. And also maybe we should use this on your belly button, see what's in there.
That's a good idea.
It's got a little recording device.
Yeah.
I was looking at my belly button in the shower this morning and I was thinking, oh, my linea negra from pregnancy is fading away, except I still have a little bit of darkness in and around my belly button. And then I scrubbed it with soap and it turned out to just be filth. AI wave news now, and this is the news that Microsoft has laid off 1,500 workers and blaming AI for the loss of these 1,500 workers, to some skepticism among people who have ever tried to use AI and seen how useless it is. I assume that the 1,500 workers they all fired were all the 13-year-old people ripping off Wikipedia in order to complete their school essays. Otherwise, I don't really see how AI could have replaced them. Katie, you look like you're part robot. Can you unpack this story for us?
Well, AI sort of terrifies me, but I feel like it would make more sense. Can't we just replace all the CEOs with AI and robots and then just keep all the employees the same? Surely that would make more sense. Replace the higher up people. Why sack loads of people? I think it's really sad. Or replace the CEOs with penguins. Obviously, that makes more sense.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's true that Microsoft could have got away with this if they had said, like, sorry, we're letting you go, we're employing penguins instead. People would have been like, oh, fair enough, that's fun. Get the penguins in.
Well, I think part of the problem was that the way in which Microsoft announced this internal massive firing was by hyping up the AI that was replacing the workers. Similarly to how there was a phase where cashiers at supermarkets had to train the robots that go beep, beep. So I feel like essentially it was adding insult to firing by sending this email out that said, our clear focus as a company is to define the AI wave and empower all our customers to succeed in the adoption of this transformative technology.
Yeah. Thanks for helping us create it. Bye.
I mean, yeah, it's the firing letter that was clearly written by AI to fire people in favor of AI.
I'm just responding to this with noises, if that's all right.
Yeah, it makes me sad. I mean, I'm so when I'm not doing comedy, I'm a tour guide, and I feel like I'm hoping that my job's not, I couldn't be replaced by AI taking Americans around Soho in the East End.
Well, the thing is, at the moment, it seems to be a massive grift. Like it's this huge, it's not doing the job that they say it's doing. A lot of it is just rebranding things which weren't called AI before. And you can't run this stuff without somebody to fact check it because it can't think. All it can do is reproduce plagiarized material from other places and get it wrong.
Yes, and also I think part of the problem here is that the tech industry over the last sort of 20, 30 years has been built on these ridiculous exponential graph curves of success and growth. And so now nothing looks like success unless it's on an exponential graph curve. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, things don't work like that. Things are either like useful or not useful. And that's not how the investment market works. The investment market works on betting that it will be the next big thing, even if it's only the next medium-sized thing.
And needing a very, very quick return rather than waiting for something to slowly pay off over time.
But on the bright side, maybe they will fire all the people who make those decisions and replace them with AI, and AI can just bet on itself ad infinitum.
Yeah, I've just realised I didn't put a joke into. Just got a bit cross. So can I do a joke? Is that all right?
You may do a joke. If you
Microsoft, don't stop me. Let me do my joke. Microsoft have blamed this on the AI wave. An AI wave being like a normal wave, but done by a hand with an indeterminate number of fingers. That's my joke. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you ask AI for that joke?
No, I did, but it just had the word finger throughout it about 10 times. So I put the AI version aside and I rewrote it myself.
In equally depressive tech news now, the news that more than 4,000 additional robot pets will be given to seniors to combat loneliness. This is in New York. Apparently you have lonely seniors looking for hot single robots in their area. one of the solutions to being alone when you're old apparently is to get a robot dog. John Luke, I can see your tail wagging from here. Can you unpack this story?
Yeah,
for
well,
us?
I mean, for one, I didn't really realize that Spanish men were so lonely. I'm so sorry, seniors. I thought you said seniors. It's just desperately sad, isn't it? The New York State Office for Aging, they're sending out robot pets to keep elderly people company, and these pets
company,
yeah. So the puppy barks, turns his head, and raises his paw, and it's the same as sending out SSRIs rather than doing talk therapy for people. It's a sticking plaster for a colossal collapse of community. This is not what you may as well send out a little pocket abyss for everyone to stare into in the solitude of their own home. And then it's like, good on them for trying, and oh god, this is bleak.
Yep. Katie?
Yeah, I mean, is it Helen who's quoted in the article saying that she's very lonely? She's 101 and she's very happy that she has this dog called Friendly and that she no longer feels lonely anymore.
Well, the reason she's happy is because there's an interviewer there speaking to us. Finally, a person in the room.
The good thing about it, I mean, if we're being sort of, is that when old people die, sometimes their animals have to be rehomed. At least when Helen dies tomorrow, it's a robot dog, so you can kind of just turn it off. It's not a sad dog that's forced.
The robot will sit familiarly by its grave, slowly running out of batteries.
Exactly. You know, it's not a 4-year-old golden retriever who now has to be rehomed and go through the trauma.
Although, except this one will take millennia to decompose rather than normal,
That's true.
Yeah.
On the other bright side, at least this time when you die, your pet won't eat you.
No.
Unless you're a battery.
Unless you've programmed it to do so. I know this is a controversial thing, but have we thought about reinventing God? Because I feel like I feel like God is a less depressing imaginary friend in your latter years than a robot dog.
What about a robot god?
Who looks like a dog?
Oh yeah, not bad. Why not do that? That seems like that's all bases covered.
Do robot dogs dream of chasing android sheep? I don't know. And that brings us to our final story of this week, which is less depressing news. The news that elephants call each other by their names. Apparently, elephants have names. First of all, news to me, elephants have names. Secondly, it's not just them who knows their own. If I looked at an elephant, I would assume that it had a name and that it knew its own name. But I wouldn't necessarily assume this other news, which is that other elephants also know its name. Katie, you know some names. Can you unpack this story for us?
Yeah, well, as someone that speaks fluent elephant, I was glad to finally have this in the news. They used AI, didn't they, to sort of look at the vibrations of a group of elephants and study them speaking to each other. And apparently also dolphins and parrots know each other by name as well. The small print, obviously, at the bottom of the article is that they're all club penguins and robots and are operated by batteries. But it's a beautiful story nonetheless.
And it is a beautiful story of of AI, because the reason that they found out that these elephants called each other by name was they were able to analyze elephant calls, a huge amount of data, using machine learning. So I feel like, I don't want to be always negative about AI. It does have these potentially brilliant applications. I want to know every name of every elephant in the world. And if we could do that instead of figuring out how to do scam calls better, I will be 100% pro AI.
Although there's massive GDPR problems with that. As soon as you start logging the elephants' names, how are you meant to, keep that data safe? The AI thing, that's the other thing. AI becoming a catch-all for everything in computers. So a couple of years ago, we just have said algorithms have helped people process this data. Now, yes, they use low sounds to call each other by their name. They trumpet and then only the elephant whose name it is excited by their name and turns around and looks for their name. I like it, but it is the equivalent because it's all just trumpeting. It would be like if every human was called Dave and it was just a slightly different lower intonation of Dave, Dave, Dave.
I started doing comedy coming up 15 years now. So I remember the time when it was all Daves on the bill and one woman. That was how they used to do lineups. It's 100% Daves. And that brings us to our final story, which is the story that researchers have decided on the worst one-word text. And I'm using the term researchers very loosely. But apparently, after a survey of people, the response "sure" is considered the most offensive response to any question in a text message exchange. Katie, how do you feel about this?
I feel personally attacked because I say sure all the time in text messages to my mum, to anyone, to my agent. So I don't know. Sure. It's said, if I was saying it out loud, it would be, it would be a happy sure. It wouldn't be a sad sure.
I feel like the worst one-word text message response is just lol, when it's not a thing that requires a lol.
Yeah, or that emoji. The hand.
Yeah, or the thumbs up emoji.
The reason sure is negative is because it's got it's as if it's intimating, sure, if you think so. It's like what sure isn't saying. That's the problem, I guess.
Yeah, it's the I'm fine of conversational gambits.
Yeah, like you're giving little away, but it doesn't seem like an enthusiastic yes. I think the worst word to one-word text to send is boo, because it's really scary. That's my research. Don't text boo or people will get a fright when they open their phone.
And that brings me to the end of this week's episode of The Gargle. I'm flipping through the ad section at the back. Katie, have you got anything to plug?
Yeah. John Luke Roberts' belly button.
Thank you.
And also my debut stand-up show. It's going to be on at the Peasants' Courtyard every day apart from the 14th at 8:30 p.m. It's called Farm Fatale. What is a farm fatale? An agricultural icon who's likely to cause delight or distress to anyone who becomes involved with her or her livestock. Yes, that's me, Katie Norris.
That sounds brilliant and exciting. Katie, thanks for coming on and welcome to the Gargle crew, allotment, arsenal,
club,
penguin club. Yeah, there's space in the club market for a non-penguin club, I reckon. John Luke, have you got anything to plug?
Yes, I'm also in Edinburgh doing all of my solo shows at 2:10 every day in the Monkey Barrel. You can look on my Twitter or Instagram to find out which shows I'm doing which day. Also, I have a podcast called Soundheap, which is fun. Please listen to that.
You should do that very much. I've been on Soundheap and it's such a fun show to do, but also to listen to. So a lot of things that I do, I can't listen to or watch afterwards, just because I feel self-conscious. But because Soundheap is so delirious and delightful, I can actually listen to it. I have been recently announcing my writers' retreat in Switzerland, but it was snapped up super quickly and is now full. But I will be doing some writers' intensives in London and Tokyo in September and October. The place you can find them is patreon.com/Alice Fraser. That's a one-stop shop for all of my stand-up podcasts and blogs, as well as my weekly salons, my twice-weekly writers' meetings, and now also the place you can go to get early bird tickets for these intensives. I'm Alice Fraser. This is a Bugle podcast and Alice Fraser production. Your editor is Ped Hunter. Your executive producer is Chris Skinner. And I'll talk to you again next week.
You can listen to other programmes from The Bugle, including The Bugle, Catharsis, Tiny Revolutions, Top Stories, and The Gargle, wherever you find your podcasts.